I went into an old, dusty bookshop. This is what happened. It was a rainy evening when I stumbled across an old, dusty bookshop that I could have sworn hadn't been there before. Its grimy windows barely glowed under the dim light inside. Curious, I pushed open the door, and a faint bell tinkled somewhere above my head. The scent of musty paper filled the narrow, cramped space, its shelves towering around me. At the end of the aisle, a man sat behind the counter, watching me with eyes that gleamed under the flickering light. "Looking for something special?" he asked in a raspy voice. Unsure, I nodded. He pointed to a small, worn book on the nearby shelf. It had no title, its cover blank and its pages yellowed. A chill ran up my spine the moment I touched it. "This one's unique," he murmured. "You read it, and it reads you back." I forced a chuckle, but he didn't blink. Shrugging, I bought the book and left, glancing back to see the shop dark, with no sign of the old man. Back home, I opened the book. At first, the pages were blank, but soon words appeared, as if they were forming just for me. It told the story of a man who wandered into a strange bookshop, just as I had, and found a mysterious book. As he read, the book began describing everything about his room, the posters on the wall, the mug next to his hand. Details I hadn't shared with anyone. A chill gripped me as I realized the book was describing me. Frantic, I tried tearing the pages, but they wouldn't rip. I threw it across the room, but it reappeared in my lap, open to the next page. My heart hammered as I flipped to the end, desperate for a way out. The last line froze me in place. He looked up and realized he was not alone. Slowly, I raised my head. A shadowy figure stood by the doorway, someone who looked exactly like me, down to my clothes, my expression. It grinned, holding its own copy of the book, and whispered, "This is just the beginning." Then everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was standing behind the counter in the old, dusty bookshop, surrounded by shelves and that same dim, flickering light. A strange calm washed over me as the door creaked open, and I saw a young man step inside, looking around with curiosity. "Looking for something special?" I heard myself say, my voice raspier than I remembered. He wandered over to the counter, eyeing the small book on the shelf, the one with the blank cover. "This book reads you back," I found myself saying. The young man laughed nervously, just as I had. He took the book, opened it, and his face went pale as the text began to appear, describing his every move, his belongings, even the fear in his eyes. When he looked at me in horror, I could only watch, unable to speak. I knew, with a sinking dread, that he was trapped, just like I was. The lights dimmed, and his form began to flicker, dissolving into mist. In his place, the book lay waiting, as it always did. The door creaked open again. Another curious soul stepped in, and I heard myself speak as though it was all beginning again. "Looking for something special?"